You are Locked On Celtics Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Boston, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, what an opening night for the Boston Celtics at TD Garden in Boston. Celtics opened up the 24-25 regular season with a blowout victory over the Knicks. Jayson Tatum leading the way, led all scorers with 37. And I think from now on, we're going to call made three-pointers going forward. We're just going to call made threes layups. With that, we welcome you into the Locked On Celtics postcast. I'm Steve Lennox, longtime play-by-play announcer with WBSU Radio at SUNY Brockport, also on the ESPN networks over the last handful of years, and Quinnipiac University also have served as a national sports talk show host as well. This is our debut of Locked On Celtics Postcast. We are providing reaction to every Celtics game on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, as well as a Locked On Celtics podcast feed, which you know is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. On our debut episode of Locked On Celtics Postcast, we're going to discuss the Celtics pregame ceremony as they raised their 18th NBA championship banner to the rafters at TD Garden on Tuesday night. The Celtics then tying an NBA record, knocking down 29 threes. That ties an NBA record set a few years ago by the Milwaukee Bucks, most threes in a single game. 29 threes for the Celtics in their blowout win against the New York Knicks. Again, our debut show, we do want to hear from you. Our everydayers, our first-timers, join the conversation. Watching live on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, hit the comment button. Join the Celtics conversation. Give us your thoughts. Give us your one random thought on the Celtics season opening victory against the New York Knicks. We're going to have plenty of random thoughts coming up in segment number 2. You can hit me up and follow me on the X at Lennox on Hoops with questions, comments, or again, your one random thought or multiple random thoughts. Go right ahead. Feel free. That's what we're here for. Our debut episode of the Locked On Celtics postcast brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off your first purchase. So the Celtics up by 19, did trail in the first quarter. Once they took, I think, an 11-8 lead, never trailed again. Up 19 after the first quarter, up 19 after the first 24 minutes, up 26, 113-87. Going to the fourth quarter, and they pick up the 132-109 win against the New York Knicks. Yes, Joe Mazzulla was able to empty that bench out, give the starters some rest down the final 5+ minutes or so. Didn't write it down as to when the starters came out, but they left to certainly a deserved ovation from the fans at TD Garden on Tuesday night. Now, the Knicks, we'll have some thoughts on the Knicks too. And I really did like Kevin Harlan, Reggie Miller to open up the NBA season. I think they hit on all the Celtics themes for this season. And I'd be this close to saying Kevin Harlan, and maybe Knick fans would think, oh, that was a Celtics broadcast. I think they were close to kind of taking a national broadcast and making it all about the Celtics, but why not? They're the defending champions. Celtics led by as many as 35 in the second half. Did not trail after the first quarter. Now, I mentioned in the open, tied an NBA single game record for most threes made, 29. They had opportunities, plural. How about 0 for 13 on their final 13 three-point attempts? So, no record, but that's okay. Again, if you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, hit the comment button. Again, this is our debut show. Do want to say this because we may have people with us on board, especially with the podcast, as we put that up immediately following going live right here with the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel and the Locked On Celtics postcast. Our guy John Corrales is on board. Right now, John is doing one of his other jobs, right? I don't want to say his main job, but one of his other jobs. John does a terrific job for Locked On covering the Celtics. He will have his podcast up in the morning. We are just immediate reaction. We try to be on within 5 to 10 minutes of the final buzzer. It was easy with a blowout victory for the Celtics in Game 1. So John is going nowhere. John is going to continue to provide great Celtics coverage all season long. Again, if you're with us, introduce yourself if you're a first-timer. And yes, this is our debut show. I have hosted Locked On Red Sox Postcast. Did that for the regular season. Was hoping to do that into October. Red Sox fell short. I dare say we're doing this into late June 2025, as the Celtics will be looking to defend their NBA title. We'll go through some notes here. Again, the biggest thing, 29 made threes. Had 10 threes in the first quarter. The Knicks shot at a very high percentage for the game. But really the difference in the game, and John had this on his X feed, the Celtics, 29 of 61. Again, they missed their final 13 three-point attempts in the fourth quarter, trying to establish a new NBA record. The Celtics knew it. The bench knew it. The coaching staff knew it. The fans in the stands knew it. Missed on their final 13. So 47.5%. But the Celtics, 29 of 61 on threes. The Knicks, 11 of 30. The Celtics took, and I'm bad at doing math off the top of my head as I've gotten older and more grumpy, but the Celtics took 31 more attempts from behind the three-point arc than the Knicks. The Celtics knocked down 29 threes. The Knicks knocked down 11. The math is easy there, right? Go ahead and do it in your head. 18 more three-pointers in the game in what turned into a 132-109 rout of the Knicks in game one of the season. Let's go to the comments. Mr. Sachs. Thank you, Mr. Sachs, for joining us. You are our first to comment on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel with the Locked On Celtics postcast. I'm doing all I can to do not to call it the Locked On Red Sox postcast. Mr. Sachs chimes in with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Very happy for the win. Didn't beat the record, but Missoula is the happiest man in the world right now. Those last 8 minutes are a nice example of what not to do in a game. Mr. Sachs, you knocked it out of the park with our first comment on the Locked On Celtics postcast. So thank you, Mr. Sachs. Much appreciated. Again, if you're with us live on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, hit the comment button. Be the second behind Mr. Sachs, who is our first to join us. That means a lot. Thank you very much. Audience participation is absolutely encouraged all throughout. In our second segment, absolutely want your random thought. I'm going to give you some random thoughts on the overall night. And I'm also going to talk about the pregame ceremony as well. You can chime in there, offer your thoughts up. 132-109 the final. All 5 starters and 6 players total for the Celtics in double figures. And I'll say it right now. It's sports. Remember the baseball movie, a great baseball movie for me, Billy Chappell, Jane Aubrey, For Love of the Game. Jane Aubrey says at dinner, I think, you count them? Yeah, we count everything in baseball. We count stats in basketball too. Segment number 2, I'm going to do my best not to have too many numbers. It's going to be the no stat zone for the most part. Can do it easily in game number 1. But looking at the box score, we'll do it again with numbers of the night for game 1 of the regular season for the Celtics coming up in segment number 3. But Tatum led the way. 14 of 18 shooting. Are you kidding me? 8 of 11 from behind the three-point line. Again, open threes, knocked them down. Missed the final 13. We'll take that away for the night, okay? We won't mention that again. But Tatum, 37 points, double-double, also had 10 assists. Derek White liked his night. Again, high shooting percentage overall from the field, 8 of 13, 6 of 10 from behind the three-point arc. The three-pointers for the Celtics, knocking down 29, tying a team record. Again, a lot of them open looks and layups from the three-point line. It's just amazing. Just amazing, the modern day game. And Reggie Miller, TNT reference there. And if you followed us on Locked On Red Sox postcast during the season, there was a Nesson reference most games. So TNT, national broadcast for the season opener for the Knicks and Celtics at TD Garden on Tuesday night. Reggie Miller saying, well, that's present-day basketball. No, we're going back now almost a decade. Every year it seems to be more, right? But again, Derek White knocking down 6 threes. Just go down the three-point line. 6 players in double figures, all 5 starters for the Celtics. Tatum, 8 made threes. Horford, 3 made threes. Holiday, 4 made threes. White mentioned 6 made threes. Jaylen Brown, 5 made threes. He was 7 of 18 overall from the field, had 7 rebounds, and he finished with 23. So 6 players in double figures for the Celtics, and 3 starters with 20 or more as well. Glad you're with us on our debut episode of the Locked On Celtics postcast. Again, part of the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. The podcast will go up. We do appreciate you being part of our first listen. And John Corrales, again, is going to have his Locked On Celtics podcast up, and you will have that as your first listen as well, along with what we're doing with the Locked On Celtics postcast as well. I will not do this every broadcast. I'm just trying to put it out there as to what we're doing and establish ourselves as we go. This is where I get myself in trouble. We're almost 11 minutes in, supposed to do a live read here. We do have some comments. I'm going to get to those comments. Mike Debate has you covered with Patriots coverage. Daily Locked On Patriots podcast with Mike Debate. Cam Stewart has you covered with the Locked On Patriots postcast. Again, the postcast for Boston, part of the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Patriots going to look to end that 6-game losing streak in Foxborough Sunday against the division rival New York Jets. Let's hit the comments. John Smith. LFG. Yeah, LFG. And the Shamrock. There you go. Greetings from Japan. Thank you, Steve, for the show. IHB. That's your hookup. That's your moniker right there. I really do believe Locked On Sports, and I don't know if anyone's talked about it. Think about it. We're into Wednesday in Asia. So you might have watched the game. The turnaround is, I think, 17 hours. So you may have watched the game into your Wednesday. I do think there's a terrific international audience, especially with hoops here, as we open up the postcast. Most NBA teams with Locked On have postcasts. So if the Celtics or Knicks aren't your teams, you may have one. Go to Locked On. Go to the website and see. Isaac is jumping in. Steve Kerr done made a big mistake, but we knew that. Yeah, can't wait to that first Celtics-Warriors matchup, and it's coming. It's circled by everybody in the locker room, I'm sure, or at least it's in the front of the minds as well. Isaac, great point to make there as well. Appreciate you all checking in with us as we discuss the Celtics opening night victory. They raised banner number 18 into the rafters at TD Garden. Again, Mike Debate has you covered. Patriots coverage, Daily Locked On Patriots podcast. Cam Stewart has you covered with the Locked On Patriots postcast after each and every game for the New England Patriots. Coming up, we're going to discuss the pregame ceremony. We want your random thoughts. That is next. So, Locked On Celtics postcast, Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day. We are presented by FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So, when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You can get started, and FanDuel gets you started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Celtics opening up the regular season plus 310 to repeat as NBA champions. Celtics plus 240 to register the most regular season victories of any NBA team for the 24-25 regular season. And the Celtics are also plus 132, according to FanDuel, to win 60 or more games. You see where FanDuel is right there with those numbers. And I think all of those numbers, 240 to win the most regular season games in the NBA this year, absolutely. And that plus 240 number seems to be pretty accurate. Same to win 60 or more games at plus 132. Again, you can start with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. All right, really going to try here not to I think it's cleared now. I apologize. Coughing off in the distance. Steve Lennox with you. Want to acknowledge our everydayers on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. And again, we are available wherever you get your podcasts. And we do appreciate you making Locked On Celtics with John Corrales and Locked On Celtics Postcast your first listen every day as we get the NBA regular season underway. So we're going to go about 5 or so minutes with this. We want to keep it at about a 30-minute show. If I go to 35, 40, they make me do push-ups. The people at Locked On, they make me do push-ups. I have to put my camera in place on the floor, and I have to do 10 push-ups. I'll tell you right now, I can't do 10 push-ups. So we're going to try to keep our opening show and I'm wasting time here. Sorry, letting you get to know me just a little bit. We'll try to keep it between 30 and 35 for episode number 1. We got a lot to talk about. We got comments as well in the comments section on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube page, and we're going to get to those in just a moment. My thoughts, and we're going to get to random thoughts here in just a moment. And random thoughts, I think, is going to be a segment that we go to segment number 3 with going forward, but we're going to play with things here. I like to throw a lot of things at the wall. We'll see what sticks. Come on. The one, I don't want to be negative here, but the one thing I thought we would see more of is past Celtic legends to come out. Now, Bob Cousy came out. It was perfect for me right there. Nothing else needed to be better. Bob Cousy, Cedric Maxwell, Cornbread was there. Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce were all there as well. If you go to the Celtics X page, you'll see the ring, and they give a real description as to what's going on with just an amazing ring. It seems like any sport, the next championship ring is better than the previous 5. The Celtics knocked it out of the park. And I may never see a Celtics championship ring for the 23-24 NBA season, and that's okay. But just seeing it on social media, it's outstanding. It really is. 18 emerald cut diamonds, and there are more diamonds from there. But the 18 emerald cut diamonds on the ring are to recognize the 18 NBA championships for the Boston Celtics franchise. The motto on the ring, whatever it takes. And the Celtics players came out. Bob Cousy got a terrific ovation. Kristaps Porzingis got a terrific ovation as well. Jayson Tatum addressed the fans. He had a moment where he paused. Somebody from the stands said, "Let's do it again." That's what Jayson Tatum closed with. Let's do it again. Plain and simple for the Boston Celtics. 18 banners. Open up the season with a blowout victory against the New York Knicks. Again, the pregame ceremony, I thought there'd be more former players there. That's okay. That's my one little thing, and I think it's a little thing. But overall, outstanding night, outstanding pregame ceremony. So let's get into some random thoughts. I think a lot of people noticed. I mean, come on, TNT. I give you a very good, solid grade for the overall broadcast. But come on. I mean, a lot of people noticed TNT going to break as the banner was being raised prior to the game Tuesday night at TD Garden. Got to be better than that. Did you happen to notice this? This was in the pregame. I would have run out of the room for a couple of minutes, but I actually was writing some notes out to myself. NBA promo for upcoming games on ESPN. Used Van Halen's Jump in the promo. Thought I'd bring that up just in case you missed it. Wasn't really familiar with Shabuzi, but hey, now I'm a fan. I'll be on iTunes tomorrow with a little Shabuzi on the Amazon, on the iTunes going forward. I guess it's not Amazon, it's iTunes, right? Jayson Tatum, in case you missed it, had the first dunk of the season. And a thought or two on the Knicks. They'll be better in December. They'll be better in January. But are you kidding me? Looked like the Knicks needed another week or two of preseason basketball, or at least practices under Tom Thibodeau. Reggie Miller said it. Celtics, Knicks, top 2 teams in the East, top 2 teams in all the NBA. I would sign up right now for Knicks Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not saying it's going 4. I'm not saying it's going 5. I'm not saying it's going 6 or 7, a full 7. But I'd sign up for it in the East, Knicks and Celtics. And the Knicks will be better. They shot at a high percentage. They didn't defend a whole heck of a lot. That'll get better too. And that might be addressed on the plane ride out of Boston Tuesday night. Let's hit some comments. Let's go here. Mike Driscoll, excited for the post-game coverage. Welcome, Steve. Hey, Mike, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Again, with the Locked On Celtics postcast, we're going to be on within minutes of the final buzzer. Game's over in 4 quarters. After 48 minutes, we're going to go live within 5 to 10 minutes. John Corrales, Locked On Celtics podcast. He's doing one of his other jobs right now. He's in the locker room. He's getting post-game reaction. He's getting sound, does a terrific job. John's not going anywhere, folks. This is just an add-on. And I was on with John. He was nice enough to have me on his preview show Monday with Locked On Celtics. And I said, hey, if you have complaints about me, Steve Lennox, take them to John first. He'll take him to management, or you can bring him right here. That's okay, too. I do have thick skin on occasion, if you catch me on a good day. Brian Clark, joined late. What a bleeping. He used freaking. I think we can use that. Season opener. Brian Clark, thank you very much. Mike Driscoll, Joe is probably the only one happy. Team did not break the record. 13 straight misses from three. Still so much to improve on. Yeah, he'll go there tomorrow and say, hey, guys, the guys who missed the final 13 attempts, I don't have the breakdown right now. But, yeah, you guys need to get in the gym and put up more threes. Don't worry about working in the paint, your post-up moves or anything like that, your mid-range jumper. Get out on the three-point line and knock down some more. Andy P., welcome, Steve. Hey, thank you very much, Andy. I think the Knicks lost a step without DiVincenzo. Still early, but we'll see if Karl-Anthony Towns improves. C's looking great. And here's a point to make before I go to break. Yes, we're all there. Season opener. One more time celebrate the 23-24 NBA title, 18th in franchise history. There's the old saying, and I'll have a lot of cliches along the way. By the way, it's the NBA. Everyone always makes a run. Knicks never made a run in the second half. Knicks never really made a run, big run at all. They never got it to single digits after the first quarter. So that adage is not always true. But we all know, and we've probably said it ourselves, well, the NBA regular season doesn't start till Christmas. I got to tell you, I'm interested in to see what this team does over the next month plus before Christmas. I really am, because it's businesslike. If you go back like me, and I go back to the 80s, and hearing from my high school basketball coach and gym teacher about how great the Celtics were, I actually, and I said this would be part of my open, and it'll probably be part of my open going forward, tongue-in-cheek. I watched Celtics games on a black and white TV at one point in the 1980s. Then all of a sudden we got cable. And we got TBS. And it was the greatest thing on earth. You had the Celtics on all the time. But every once in a while, I now live in Connecticut, in the New Haven, Connecticut area. But every once in a while, the Celtics, I don't know what they were on night in, night out in the 1980s in terms of TV. It was more local market stuff. But when they were on the affiliate in Hartford, Connecticut, I was watching on my black and white TV. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Knicks pick up the victory. Those are my random thoughts. We're going to do, like I did with Locked On Red Sox Postcast, we're going to do numbers of the night in segment number 3. We're also going to look ahead with the upcoming games on the schedule for the Boston Celtics. Off to a great start, blowout victory against the New York Knicks as they raise their 18th NBA championship banner into the rafters Tuesday night before the thrashing of the Knicks, who, right now, I'll take it. Eastern Conference final matchup, late May into June. Take it, run with it. Numbers tonight, next. Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day. Locked On Celtics Postcast, sponsored by BetterHelp. What's something that scares you? Halloween lets us have fun with what scares us. Halloween right around the corner. But what about those fears that don't involve zombies and ghosts? Therapy is a great tool for facing your fears and finding ways to overcome them. Because sometimes the scariest thing is not facing our fears in the first place and holding ourselves back. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnMLB. All right, segment number 3. Again, you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Hit the comment button. Share your random thought on night number 1 of the NBA regular season. Am I going to check out Bronny James and his dad, LeBron? I might. We'll see. Still getting ready for the World Series. Not going to touch that one right now at all. Celtics did not trail after the first quarter. I believe they went in front 11-8 Up 19 after one, up 19 at the half, plus 26 after three quarters, 113.87. Celtics hitting on 101 points at the 4:06 mark of the third quarter. So we're sort of getting into numbers of the night here. Derek White, basket, was in the paint, clock winding and down. Nice little two-man game. Celtics had 113 through three quarters. Let's see the next Knicks matchup against the Celtics. Let's see what they have at the half. Let's see what they have through three quarters. Let's see if they knock down 20 or more threes in the next matchup against the New York Knicks. Yeah, there's a great number of the night. There's certain numbers of the night that I'm going to just knock you out with every single game. And here's the one, okay? Assists to made field goals. 33 assists, 48 made field goals, 5 turnovers. Are you going to have 5 turnovers? Are you going to average 5 turnovers a game? No, probably closer to 8 or 9, but 5 turnovers, 33 assists. 33 assists, 48 made field goals, 26 or 29 made three-pointers for the entire game for the Celtics. Hashtag different here. 33 assists, and as I'm scrolling through my notes, I just saw the name Bob Cousy. But 33 assists. Look at the teams that are going to win anywhere between 15 and 20 games this year. See how many times they have 30 or more assists in a game. See how many times the Celtics, a championship team from last year, a championship caliber team for 24-25. Let's keep track. I'll keep track. You don't have to. I'll keep track of how many times the Celtics have 30 or more assists for the game. Reggie Miller had an interesting note. I didn't realize Porzingis missed so many games last year. But the Celtics last year, Reggie Miller had this on TNT, 31-6 without Porzingis in the lineup. They did mention, I think it was Ali LaForce saying, Porzingis back as early as December. That'll be great. Those are some of our numbers of the night. Mike Driscoll, Brown accepting the challenge against Brunson was great. The backcourt violation was beautiful. That was. Thank you, Mike Driscoll. During the Locked On Red Sox postcast, I would have kind of the moment. This might be a moment of the game or something. There was a sequence in the first half. Horford had a block on Karl Anthony Towns. He got it back, put the shot up, made it, connected on an old-fashioned three-point play. That was an interesting sequence, but at that point, the Celtics were up big. I think at that point, they were up at least 15. But we had an at-bat of the night during the Locked On Red Sox postcast. I'm going to come up with something for segment number 3. If you have a thought on something, I'm watching. Am I watching as intently as you? I might be 85%. You might be 90%. I might be 75% once in a while. Maybe I'm not hearing what the broadcast is, where I try to pick up notes or runs or stuff like that. Yeah, Brunson got his points. Nick shot at a high percentage. But again, Celtics pick up the victory. Big time with the victory. So those are some of the numbers of the night. Now, this is where I am going to try to come up with a little something in terms of nightly tip of the cap. So I'm going to have a nightly tip of the cap. And this is a tough one tonight. But the top bench player for the Celtics. Yeah, we can always look at Tatum, Horford, Holiday, White, and Brown. It's a starting 5, 3 of the 5 starters with 20 or more, all 5 starters in double figures. But for night 1 of the NBA regular season, I'll go tip of the cap, Sam Hauser off the bench. Is he the 6th man of the year right now? He's in the running, right? 24 minutes, 4 of 10, 2 of 7 on threes. Didn't have a turnover, was +6. Sometimes I look at the +6 or the +- sometimes I don't. But he had 10 points. Only player off the bench in double figures. And, he had 5 rebounds. And here's one more number of the night for you. Because at one point, I think it was 9-1. Celtics, 9 offensive rebounds to the Celtics, or to the Knicks 1. It was 11-5 on the offensive end in terms of rebounds, 40-34 overall in favor of the Celtics on the boards. But that, again, offensive rebounds, second, third chance opportunities, you're going to take that. Again, the Celtics already playing at a championship caliber level. They check all the boxes. Distractions, minimal during the offseason. Chip on the shoulder, thank you, Steve Kerr. Thank you, USA Basketball. Thank you, NBA. It's all right there. It really is. What's on tap? I meant to do this about 15 different times, and I didn't do it. So real quick, I'm looking at the Celtics schedule. I know the next 2 are on the road. Yeah, you really should be 3-0. Going into next Monday at home against the Bucks. That game will be on NBA TV. But the next two on the road. At Washington Thursday, again, after the game against Washington from D.C. On Thursday, we'll be on within minutes of the final buzzer with our latest Locked On Celtics postcast. You don't have to rearrange your schedules, but I am going to miss 2 games between now and the end of the calendar year. The first is going to be Saturday. Saturday, I call Uncle, going to be out. Little plans. I will pay attention to the game. We just won't have Locked On Celtics postcast on Saturday for the game against the Pistons in Detroit. But really, you're looking at 3-0. Then you go into the Milwaukee game on Monday against the Bucks. And, I'm not going to call the Milwaukee Bucks a work in progress, but it's going to be interesting to see what kind of start they get off to the season. It really is. So that's a wrap for us. Yeah, episode number 1 in the books. Again, the podcast up almost immediately after we go off with the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel feed. And we will be back Thursday night after the Celtics' first road game of the season in Washington against the Wizards. As we go to break, as we say goodbye, we're saying goodbye. We're not going to another break. We want to remind you, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter introducing Locked On Celtics Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now. LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Celtics newsletter. John Corrales is going to be a big part of that. We do want to thank our sponsors, Game Time, FanDuel, and BetterHelp. We do close out, again, reminding you, our Locked On Reds, I did it one time there right at the end, didn't get cocky, just got lazy. Locked On Celtics postcast, our debut show is about to be in the books, but Locked On Celtics postcast does follow each and every Celtics game all season long. Let's say it, all the way through next June and the NBA Finals. We do thank you for making Locked On Celtics with John Corrales and Locked On Celtics postcast your first listen every day. Free and available wherever you get your podcast and on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel as well. Again, one more reminder, can't remind you enough, we go live within minutes of the final buzzer with our latest Locked On Celtics postcast Thursday night with the Celtics' first road game of the NBA regular season in D.C. against the Washington Wizards. Again, Celtics beat up on the Knicks 132-109. 5 starters in double figures. Tatum leading the way, 37, double-double. He had 10 dimes in the victory. Celtics win 132-109 over the New York Knicks. Locked On Sports Boston, number 1 place to hang out immediately after every game. Locked On Sports, your team, your Celtics, your Boston teams every day.